What's going on, WODprep? Hopefully by now you have completed 19.1 and you are happy with your scores. And now it is time to recover. And the best time to do this recovery flow is the very next day after you finish your open workout. So whenever your last attempt is, the very next day, let's get moving again. And if you need a complete rest day, let's take it after our day of recovery flow. So today I have just a little yoga mat. You can just be on the floor, a little space for you. I have a box, then I have two 20-pound dumbbells. It can just be very light. I would not go heavier than 20. You can go all the way down to 5, or you can just grab two little heavy things at your home and do this there. So let's go ahead, get onto the ground, and we're going to go ahead and get some movement back into that spine. So no matter what we do, even if we didn't do a whole lot of trunk bending or we didn't do a lot of deadlifts, whenever we have a big exertion or a big effort like an open workout, we're always gonna have some spinal stiffness just because we're exerting so hard. So we did do a lot of the rowing and then the wall balls. So let's go ahead, get some movement back into that spine. And we're gonna start with some prone back extension. So get into your space, put your hands back behind you, and then what we're going to do is just raise up with our back 6 times. What I want you to feel is that you feel a little bit more of the pressure in your middle back. Really try to kind of straighten up through that middle back, and then you'll almost get an isometric on the lower back. So let's go ahead and do 6 reps. You can follow along and beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next, stay right where you're at. We're just gonna go ahead, put our elbows down flat on the ground. And then what we're going to do is just some neck flexion and extension. So we were really cranking and looking up at that wall ball target, and maybe you did a couple attempts at this workout. So we should just get a little bit of movement back into that neck. So let's go ahead. We're gonna start here. Tuck that chin, bring it down, and then just come back up. Eyes look all the way to the ceiling. And come back down like so. And now follow along and let's complete 6 reps. So tuck the chin, go down. 1. All the way up. Back down for 2. And back up. Make sure those eyes look towards the ceiling. Exhale on the way down. Now we're going into 4, all the way up. Look towards that ceiling. Tuck the chin, exhale. 5, back up, 1 more. And back down. 6. Go ahead, flip over onto your back. And now we are just going to do some straight leg crunches, which are gonna get some flexion into that spine. So point those toes all the way up. And what you're going to do, hands straight, we're going to start by tucking and crunching that chin first, come up, and then touch towards your feet. You can point your toes down or up. And now let's go ahead and get our 6 reps. Come up, slow, crunch, touch, come back down. Back up, 2. Nice and slow. Start with that crunch at the neck. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go ahead, lay completely flat, completely supine. And what we're going to do is take our hands up overhead, and we are going to do a straight leg sit up, and we're gonna get some even bigger total global flexion. So come up, shoot up, use that momentum of the hands, come through, grab your feet, and then you can look down as well to get a little bit more range. So go ahead, follow along, crunch all the way up, come through, tuck that chin, try to grab your hands, feet, straighten those quads out a bit by pressing them down in towards the ground, and then come back. Back up again for rep 2. tuck the chin, flex the quads, come back down. 3, 4, 5, last one, and 6. Back down to your stomach for our prone back extensions. We're gonna do one more round. So 2 sets of 6 of all these movements. Let's go ahead, get into your position, raise up and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Elbows down, palms flat, neck flexion and extension. Tuck that chin and let's begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back onto your back for our straight leg crunches. Feet straight up, tuck that chin, round, and crunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feet down for straight leg sit-ups. Hands up overhead, go and begin. Go towards your feet, tuck that chin, round. You should be feeling like you're getting further now, getting some more movement into that spine. Back up for 2. Flex the quads. Come back down. Back up again for 3. Back down. 4. Getting a little bit further, reaching out. Take those hands up over those toes. 5. 6. All right, next we are going to do a little, just few yoga movements and then some dynamic movements that we like to incorporate for flexibility. So go ahead, get into the quadruped position, get your toes down on the ground, and once we're here, we're going to shoot our hips up to the ceiling, and then we can hang out here for a few breaths. And what you can do is just kind of pulse one ankle down and then the other. But let's just prioritize getting into this position, nice straight back, shooting that head through, and then trying to flex our quads to straighten out our knees. So you should feel a nice stretch in that hamstring. So get in your position if you aren't already, and we can just hang out here for a second, breathing. And then pulsing those feet back and forth while still getting a nice rhythmic breath. Probably pretty sore in that posterior chain. This is a good way to get it moving again. Then let's go forward to our push-up position. And in yoga, we would call it chaturanga, but we're just gonna go down to a quarter push-up. And then I'm gonna put my hips down on the ground and I'm going to raise up, and we're just gonna do the cobra pose today, keeping our hips on the ground. So I want you to keep the glutes tight, look up towards the ceiling, hang out here for a second, and then we're gonna come back to our knees. Very simple, just back to the knees, and then let's go back up to down dog. And now we're just gonna cycle through a little bit faster for the remaining 5 reps. Get here, nice straight back, straighten those quads, flex those quads to straighten the knees. Let's go back to our push-up. quarter push-up, up, stretch, look to the ceiling, back to this crawling position. Back up for rep 3. Push-up position, quarter push-up, hips on the ground, look towards the ceiling. Back to the knees, up for rep 4. Head through, opening up a little bit more this time, flexing those quads. Back to push-up position, quarter push-up, hips on the ground, rise to the ceiling. 2 more reps. Back to the knees, shoot to the hips up to the ceiling, flex the quads, press the heels down to the ground, hands nice and flat on the mat. Push up, quarter push up, hips on the ground, look to the ceiling. 1 more rep. Back to your knees, quadruped, shoot the hips up, press those heels down to the ground, splay the fingers, get the hands nice and flat. Back to quarter push-up, or back to push-up, down to quarter push-up, and up. Go back to your knees, and now we are just going to do our Spider-Man lunges. So, what we're gonna do, get into the push-up position. Once I'm here, I'm going to bring 1 foot all the way up next to my hands. I don't want it back here. I want it all the way up in line with your hands. So if you have to use your hand to pull your foot up, that's okay. We're gonna do 3 of these each side. So let's get into position. We're gonna follow along with the sequence, and I'm gonna give you enough time to get into position. So we're in this position with my back leg off the ground, and I'm going to take my inside hand and rotate it to the ceiling. So get into that position, take your inside hand closest to your foot, to the ceiling, look. And now we're going to come back down. Now I'm gonna drop my back knee, so let your knee come down to the ground, and you're just gonna bring this elbow down comfortably on that inseam of that ankle. From there, let's go ahead and push this knee out. So now that inside hand is pushing that leg out, and we can just pulse it for a few reps. So do that now. And then take your hand, put it on top of your foot. And this is the tricky part. So get into this position, hand on top of the foot. Now I want you to shoot your hips up to the ceiling, get that back knee off the ground so my back leg is pretty much straight. And now I'm just going to lightly floss this leg in front. So I'm gonna drive that knee in and out a few times. And every time I do that, I feel a nice stretch in that hamstring. So just trying to get that hamstring sliding and gliding again, getting used to that eccentric force. So give a few reps. You should be in this position by now. And now let's go ahead and switch. So hands back to center, back to that push-up position. We're gonna bring that foot back, and now we bring up the other foot. So I'll give you a second to get into this position. Remember, your foot is in line with your hands. Once we are here, we're gonna take that inside hand again, that is closest to the foot, rotate it to the ceiling, hang out here for a second, look up. I'll let you get in this position. My back knee is off the ground. And then I'm gonna come back down to the ground. That back knee drops, and I drop that inside elbow. So back knee's on the ground. This elbow, inside elbow, is close to the inseam of my front ankle. And we're gonna put the hand on top of that knee and just press that knee out, letting that foot roll up onto its side. The foot doesn't have to stay flat, pulse in and out a few times. And now let's go ahead, get that hand on top of the foot. Let's go back to the tricky part. Shoot the hips up to the ceiling. My back knee comes off the ground. And then I immediately just go into flossing that knee in and out for a few reps, stretching that hamstring, keeping my hand on top of my foot, and then just working, going into my tension and back out. Don't press too hard. You don't have to hold it, just go into your natural tension and then come back out. Back to this push-up position. And now we're gonna bring up the other leg and we're gonna go a little bit faster this round. So, kick that leg up. Let's rotate inside hand to the ceiling. Bring that inside hand back down, back knee drops to the ground, elbow on the inseam of the foot. Take that inside hand, push that knee out. Let's get a few reps here. Press out. Now, hand back down on top of the foot. Tricky part, hips up to the ceiling. And let's just floss this knee in and out. Tuck the chin a little bit. Floss the knee, only go to where you feel tension, and then come back out. All right, back to the push-up position. Bring up that other leg. Leg, foot in line with the hands, rotate inside hand to the ceiling. Look here for a second. Come back down. Drop that inside elbow on that inseam. Press that knee out. Pulse it out a few times. Hand on top of the foot. Tricky part, hips up to the ceiling. Let's floss this hamstring in and out one last time. And relax. Come back down to your mat. Let's get ready for the next part. All right, our last two movements, we're gonna grab the dumbbell. We're gonna get your box ready. You can use a chair or some type of step, some ledge that you can step up on. And we are just going to get some active movement back into those legs. So we're gonna start off with a stiff leg deadlift. So those hamstrings, like we talked about, are going to be stiff, but now we wanna get a little bit of load into them just to get them ready to recover a little bit faster. So we're gonna have soft knees. I'm going to hinge forward at the hips, nice straight back, just go to where I have tension. Come back out, squeeze the glutes, get that good glute squeeze, because they're probably tight too. Sore, come back down. Nice straight back, come back up. 2, back down. 3, back down. 4, squeeze the glutes, 2 more reps. Hinge at the hips, knees are soft, nice straight back. Lock out for 5, breathing the entire time. 6, and then relax. Now, we're going to do some box step-ups. So we're gonna get the quads moving again, but we're not gonna do a bigger range of motion as a squat, but we're gonna get that nice concentric force. We're not gonna get that eccentric force of going down on a squat. We're gonna get the concentric of driving up. So we're just gonna do 10 box step-ups, alternating each leg. And if you wanna use dumbbells, you can, but let's just do some body weight if you're really toasty. So, foot up, step up, come back down, and now switch, step up, come back down. We're gonna go ahead and get 10. Now we should be breathing a little bit, which is also something that we want. It's 4, 5, 6. Step up with one foot and step down with that same foot. Last 2, 9. I didn't even listen to my same rule. That's okay. Back to the stiff leg deadlifts. 6 reps again. One more set of each of these exercises. Hopefully the heart rate's up a little bit, getting a little sweat going, which is always good. Hinge at the hips, nice soft knees. Nice straight back, come back up, squeeze the glutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put those aside. Let's get back into our step ups. Step up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting that breathing going. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, that concludes your recovery flow. If you're feeling really ambitious, you can do a second round of that if you want, but the whole goal of that was to get some movement back into that body, get the spine open, get the legs open a little bit, and then just get a little active weighted blood and pump back into those legs. So enjoy, and we will see you next week.